10 animals you probably didn't know about. Animals that not everyone knows about their existence, and that seem taken from another planet. These things are very strange. Now, make yourself comfortable, and let's start. The ugliest goat in the world. Damascus goats are one of the strangest looking animals on our planet. These animals are raised mainly for meat, milk and leather, but their appearance is what is most commented on about them. Since you only find them in Damascus, I think this is an animal you probably haven't seen before. Damascus market is very famous among local consumers. All kinds of farm animals are traded here: cows, sheep, chickens and the famous Damascus goats. Something very curious about these goats is that not all of them look like the one you are seeing. In reality, a Damascus goat looks like any other goat. The only thing different is that his ears are longer. But among them there is a group of Damascus goats. They have a gene that has deformed them, giving them that ugly appearance. For some strange reason, people highly value Damascus goats, who have that ugliness gene. They say that copies have already been sold for more than $60,000 for a single goat. I think that's a lot of money, because of that unique appearance, and since you only find them in this market. Damascus goats are one of the least known animals to people. Purple frog. One of the most unknown animals to humanity. Those frogs spend almost all their time inside their burrow. They only leave it for 2 weeks throughout the year. I think we are similar in that. The only reason they come out of their burrow is to mate. It seems that all the purple frogs agree to go out and get to know each other. They mate and return to the burrow again, from which they will not leave until the next mating season. And that's the only thing they do in their entire miserable life. Since she spends almost all her time hidden, not much was known about her. They were recently discovered in 2003 almost by chance in India. They are barely 7 centimeters long and look like a piece of poop. So it was not easy to know of its existence. They only live in a small region called the Western Ghats, and nowhere else on our planet. They are considered living fossils, since its roots go back about 100 million years ago, and they have evolved almost nothing since then. Now you know the purple frog. Congratulations! Add that to the list of things you know, but they are not going to be of any use to you in your life. The cockroach with steroids. These are the giant isopods, ocean cockroaches. These creatures live in the cold depths of the oceans, where sunlight never reaches. It is believed that the largest colony of these animals is in the Atlantic Ocean. It is considered one of the oldest species in the ocean. There are fossil records of them from before the dinosaurs. It's a garbage creature, eat all the waste that falls on the seabed, and they are part of the army of creatures that clean the bottom of the sea. Sometimes, if the hunger is very great, and they do not find remains of animals with which to feed, they become predators. They devour sea cucumbers, sea sponges, and whatever comes your way. In the abyssal depths food is scarce. Sometimes they can go months without eating. That's why when they find food they don't leave anything behind. Not much else is known about their behavior in their natural habitat. They live in an area where there is no light and it is difficult to access. So it is very likely that you did not know of its existence. Mola fish, also known as sunfish. It is the heaviest bony fish in the world. Specimens measuring more than 3 meters in length have been found, and that exceed 2 tons in weight. They live in tropical and temperate waters around the planet. They feed mainly on jellyfish, which is their favorite food. The problem is that jellyfish are not that rich in nutrients, so in order to achieve their daily diet they have to eat a lot of jellyfish, as if there was no tomorrow. So it's not that these are bloodthirsty beasts that devour everything in their path. They are actually quite quiet. But, I mean, who wouldn't be afraid of running into one of these animals down there? The appearance is not pretty at all, and compared to a human they are gigantic. In the ocean food chain the sunfish is one of the strongest. Due to its large size and thick skin, not everyone dares to bother it. In reality, the most worrying threat to them is us, human beings. Its meat is considered a delicacy in some parts of the world, such as Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. It is currently on the list of vulnerable species in the ocean. That body that looks like a big head with fins. It must be one of the most curious animals in the depths. Have you seen it before? The most terrifying crab that exists. Have you ever seen such a huge crab? This animal is the giant Japanese crab. It lives in the depths of the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Japan. You find it between 300 and 500 meters deep, and behaves like any other crab. When they see human presence, they usually hide. This crab's legs are more than 2 meters long, making it the largest arthropod in the world. I know his legs look skinny, but don't jump to conclusions so quickly. They are actually stronger than you imagine. They are said to be more powerful than a crocodile's jaw. If that thing grabs you with its pincers, that's as far as you've come. But don't worry, they are pretty calm creatures, and they spend a large part of their day looking for food. They generally do not hunt, but rather feed on dead and decaying animals or plants found on the seabed. The life expectancy of these crabs is 100 years old. Pretty long life for a crab. Another interesting fact about them is that the female can lay up to 1,500,000 eggs during the spawning season. It's not every day you see one of these crabs, right? I think it is one of the strangest animals that inhabit our planet. Babirusa, a little pig that maybe you didn't know. The Babirusa is a strange breed of pig that lives on the Celebes Islands, in central Indonesia. He likes to walk in humid areas such as rivers, lakes, and puddles to wallow. The first thing people notice when they meet the Babirusa are its fangs. They look like horns, but they are not horns, they are fangs. They don't seem to be very useful as offensive weapons. The curve they take is not outwards. What would be logical if they used them as weapons? But they curve inwards, towards their own face. Scientists believe they serve to protect their faces. When they have fights with other pigs, the upper fangs basically break the Babirusa's snout. They come out of your oral cavity and pierce your skin. And the worst of all is that they never stop growing. Babirusas have been seen with injuries to their own face due to those fangs. These animals are considered special, because they only grow in this part of the world, in Indonesia. And if we add to that his fangs with a defective design, I think we are facing Mother Nature's strangest little pigs. Not many people have heard of these animals, but now you already know them. The most toughest rat ever seen. That hairless animal is the naked mole rat. They are small rodents that live in underground tunnels in Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. And they like to feed on roots and tubers, so they are considered a pest. They are capable of ruining your carrot crop in just a few days, so be careful with them. When they discovered their existence, it was not known if it was a new species, or if they were sick rats that had lost their hair. As time went by, scientists began to study them, and indeed they discovered that they were a new species, and they also found other surprising things. It is believed that they have the secret to eternal youth. Their life expectancy is longer than that of other rodents. A common rat lives on average about 3 years, but the naked mole rat lives to be about 30 years old. They usually die from other predators rather than from old age. They also have a high resistance to developing tumors. They are basically immune to cancer. As if that were not enough, it can also survive several minutes without oxygen. The human brain begins to die when it lacks oxygen for a minute, but they can survive up to 18 minutes without oxygen. I think we are facing one of the most curious animals in the world. The Medusa Immortal. Its scientific name is Teratopsis nutricula. Of the almost 4,000 species of jellyfish that we know, this is perhaps the most surprising. It was discovered in 1843, but its ability to live forever was recognized only a few years ago. Apparently, when the jellyfish reaches a certain adulthood, it returns to its first phase of development and restarts its life cycle again. It is as if humans reaching adulthood. We could make our body return to youth, without making ourselves smaller and keeping our body as is. Jellyfish can repeat this process over and over forever. Researchers believe this mechanism could be replicated in humans when sufficiently advanced molecular genetic knowledge is available. Can you imagine that? It is not yet known very well how this jellyfish carries out the entire process, but it is already being studied. Jellyfish only die when they are prey to their predators. There is no mechanism that can save you from being eaten by another animal. Few have heard of these jellyfish. Did you know of its existence? The bird you won't want to disturb. The shoebill is a majestic bird that lives in the central eastern region of Africa. What is most impressive about this animal is its enormous Swedish Dutch-shaped beak and his penetrating gaze. If you see her from the front, you probably won't want to bother her. Fortunately, they are not violent birds, but you never know, so you better not even come close. They measure about 1.5 meters high. They are the largest bird in Africa. How they have a big head and thin legs. They usually spread their wings to balance themselves when they walk, which makes them look even scarier than they already are. Little is known about their behavior and what their life is like in their natural habitat. They are in danger of extinction, and that has made studying them very difficult. It is very rare to see a specimen of these in the wild. Check caterpillar. If you see this thing, don't touch it. It is likely that if you find this tuft of hair on a plant, you have the impulse to touch it, but that's the worst thing you could do. This is a stuffed caterpillar, a larva covered in long, dense setae that look like hair. Some innocent people have been carried away by its cottony appearance, and they have held them in their hands without knowing that they are highly poisonous. They may seem soft and innocent, but under that layer of hair there are thorns that will cause you unbearable pain. The reactions due to its sting are similar to those experienced from the sting of bees, wasps, and ants, only that its effect lasts much longer, up to 12 hours. It will cause irritation and in the worst cases vomiting and dizziness. There are those who describe the pain very similar to when you break a bone. The main recommendation I can give you is that if you see one thing, it looks like a wig in the middle of the forest, don't touch it. These caterpillars have been found in rural areas of almost the entire American continent, so be careful when you go camping. And that's all for today. Until next time.